back. I think we're live. Pretty sure we're live. All right, we're good. So I recently watched the new HBO show, the new Ridley Scott show, Raised by Wolves, and I loved it. So get ready for my new segment, The Good, the Bad, and the Wolves. Welcome to the newest episode of SDW.
Super Dario World!
So I see this thing's kind of hot here, so I'm a little concerned. I'm going to have to try to fix that later. Hopefully it wasn't too bad for your ears. But before I get into it, let me just give you a quick reminder that any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Dario the Show on Instagram and at Super Dario World. Also, I'm live streaming pretty much every day. This week's been a rough one. I'll get to that in a minute. But I'm live streaming on YouTube and on Twitch. That's at Super Dario World. Like I said, I'm trying to do every day. This week's been a rough one. I've had a lot of work and kind of, life gets in the middle of things. Also, I had the draft for the radio station, the NFL draft, and it ended up taking over 2 fucking hours, which was insane. But I'm gonna try to double dip this week because you'll notice I had to prep some stuff here, and but I'll try to double dip today. Maybe I'll even double dip tomorrow. Maybe triple dip. I don't know. I'll try to get as many episodes as I can because there's 3 episodes out this week, and there's another one coming out tomorrow. So I gotta get on top of this. Also, the new season of The Boys started, and 3 episodes, so I gotta get into that ASAP. So I'm gonna probably have to double dip or triple dip for the rest of the week because I wanna be on top of that. Also, I'm loving this new system, by the way, that streaming services, they're doing 3 episodes at first and then new episode every week. It makes things more exciting, at least for me. I like it. I don't know how you feel about it, but I like it. I don't know how you feel about it, but I like it. But all right, let's get into. Also, before that, I know there's some big pieces of news that came out. There's some big news about the Oscars. There's some big news about Mulan. There's the new trailer for Dune came out. I'm kind of probably going to skip them this week because this is going to be a review week. I spent way too much time on this, and so I'm going to keep working on it. So, yeah, for this week, it's probably going to be a review week. Those topics, I will talk about them next week. So, let's get started here with Raised by Wolves. So, this is going to be spoiler-free from the beginning, and then at one point, when I break down the episode, that's when, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to go into spoilers. So, spoiler-free review right now. I love the show, at least the pilot. It's very hard not to go through the whole thing at once, but just the pilot alone, I loved it. It's the situation. I love sci-fi for starters. I'm a big Ridley Scott guy. Ridley Scott is one of the best sci-fi directors of all time. He's really good with androids. Blade Runner, call it Blade Runner, call it Alien. So he's really, really good with androids. And here he presents us a new vision for the future, which is in many ways terrifying. A very brief summary of what the show is. Basically, atheists got in a war with theists, I guess would be what you call religious people. They destroyed Earth, but they try to colonize a planet. The atheists send a couple of androids with a bunch of human embryos, and they're going to be basically colonizing the planet that way. The theists, they went on a ship, and they're eventually gonna end up at the same spot. But it's basically androids raising humans. That's kind of the thing. So that's the premise of the show. The show is very well made. They invested a lot of money into this. The acting is fantastic, at least particularly that girl, the main android mother. Sure, her job, she does an amazing job. She's terrifying in many ways, but she's also heartwarming. So her performance is great. All the performances all around were very great. So again, just keeping it spoiler-free, I cannot recommend this show enough. It is worth getting HBO Max just because of it. Now, if you want to get a free week and then just maybe change your email and get another free week and do stuff like that, I ain't going to judge you. Or if you want to wait till the end, I ain't going to judge you. However, right now on YouTube, the pilot episode is up for free. So you can watch the pilot episode if you want for free on YouTube. You're welcome. So that's the one that we're breaking down right now. I highly recommend it. I love the show. Like I said, it's very good. It's one of the most dire situations show has started in. I've always praised Battlestar Galactica because for sci-fi, I think it's one of the shows that put humanity in the worst situation possible. Basically, all of humanity, billions of humans have been killed, and only a ship full, well, only a few shipfuls survive, and they're being pursued by Cylons. Here, the situation is probably more dire than that one. So the stakes are very high. Like humanity itself, is at risk. The enemy is terrifying, and so I highly, highly, highly recommend this show. So, all right, that is the spoiler-free stuff. From this point on, we will be getting into a few spoilers of the episode. So you've been warned. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. So let's begin with the characters. And there's honestly only 4 characters that really matter in this episode. And that's Mother, who you can see right here. Father, who is Mother is one of the androids. Father is the other android. Then you have the kid Campion. Campion, that's like champion, but without the H. And Marcus, who you got, I think is the only name actor here. Travis Fimmel, he played Ragnar Lothbrok in Vikings. So those are the 4 main characters: Mother, Father, Campion, and Marcus. Honestly, everybody else really doesn't matter in this episode. So let's get into a quick summary of the story. So the story starts with a ship crash landing in a planet and falling down a big hole. In this ship, there's 2 androids that have they managed to get supplies out of there before the ship falls into a hole, and they start colonizing a planet. So they start building a settlement. While the male android Father starts building that settlement, the female android gets connected with a bunch of what's it called? Artificial umbilical cords, like 6 to her abs. It's really weird. And from those, she produces 6 what's it called? They connect that to a little cube that has embryonic fluid, I guess, and embryos in it. And from that, she produces 6 babies. So, these 6 babies, they try raising them. However, the planet is hostile, and they all pretty much end up dying except for one. The one that survives is Campion, and as each one of these babies keeps dying, the female android mother kind of starts losing it a little bit, to the point where she kind of begins to malfunction. Now, this is something that I actually like. This is part of the Ridley Scott universe. You can see that like the android blood is kind of like milky. So I enjoy that. That is 100% a Ridley Scott thing. So I just fun little fact there. As Mother begins to malfunction, she starts getting a weird, let's say, visions or memories. It's not exactly clear what she's getting, but in those visions, we get to see how Earth used to be, and how Earth is getting destroyed in the middle of a war. You see ships flying around there. Earth is on fire, basically. You get to see these weird godlike beings, metallic god beings flying around. It's weird. Next, as Mother starts to lose it, Mother notices that a human ship has arrived. Let me make this actually bigger for you. There you go. A human ship arrives, and this is the Ark. This is the ship with the theists in them, with the religious people. And so Mother and Father get into an altercation. Father believes that, okay, we only have Campion left. We really only have one kid. We were supposed to raise 6. Only one's alive. We're starting to malfunction. We're not going to last forever. The kid needs to be with his own kind. Mother politely disagrees, and she kills him. So after she kills Father, she kind of starts losing it again, and she for some reason starts digging up a whole bunch of stuff in their crop fields. By the way, there's bones of like giant prehistoric snakes that were there, and so she starts digging them up for reasons, because she's going crazy. And this leads Campion to be like, okay, my mother's starting to lose it, and so he goes to the original crash landed ship where they arrived, and he basically presses a button which sends a signal to the humans, and then he goes with his mother, who is pretty much unconscious in the middle of the field, and he tries to keep her warm and stuff, which is really unnecessary because she's an android, but whatever. After that, they get the signal is received by the human Ark, and 3 humans and an android land there, and they're like, hey, who the fuck are you? How'd you get here? We thought this planet was abandoned. They have a very nice conversation. In that conversation, they decide, okay, this chick's clearly an android. She's kind of clearly losing it. This kid may be a kid of prophecy, an orphan boy in an abandoned planet. And so they decide, all right, we can't leave the kid here, so we kind of have to take the kid. So they decide to take the kid. Mother didn't like this. This leads to a fight. And this fight, besides an ass whooping, leads us to discover Mother's, let's just say, special ability, which is this is bad. The image did not copy here. Weird. Let me just fix that real quick. So, her secret ability is that she has a scream. There you go. I found it. She has a scream that basically microwaves people. It basically burns them up with a scream. Now, we learn from the character Marcus, as you saw him right there, the guy who got his ass kicked, that for some reason, if you cover your eyes, it doesn't do that to you, but it doesn't work for everybody for some reason. I don't know. It's kind of confusing, and I'll get into that in the Wolves. But Ragnar tries to get the fuck out of there. She chases him. She ends up taking his ship. She takes his ship over to the mothership, and she starts using her super scream to pretty much kill everybody in there and turning them into jelly. Then she redirects the ship to crash land on the planet. She finds a room full of kids. The ship crash lands on the planet, and Marcus is like, holy fuck, is that my ship? Is that the one where my kid lives? Is that where all my friends live? Is that where the rest of humanity lives? Because supposedly this ship has the last remaining humans in the universe, or at least that's the information that we have up to this point. And Mother happily lands back on her planet with 5 new kids, very specifically 5. Now, if you saw that room again, before, you saw a whole bunch of kids. There were more than 5, but she only took 5 very specifically because if you remember, in the beginning, she was only supposed to raise 6, and now she has 5. She's replaced the 5 that she lost, and so the episode ends with Campion realizing something that every little boy eventually realizes in his life. Holy shit, my mom's crazy. So, that's episode 1. That's the pilot. Like I said, humanity, very dire situations. Like the last surviving arc of humans crashed. We don't know what other humans are out there. Supposedly, we assume that there's other scouts from the ship out there. It's not exactly clear. Also, we don't know if one of the kids that were chosen here was one of the kids of Marcus. We don't know. All right, there's a whole lot we don't know, and so that's interesting. That's interesting. It leaves the viewer wanting more. Correct. So. With that in mind, let's get into, let me see if I can find it here, my new segment, which is The Good, the Bad, and the Wolves. I don't know if it's my internet or something, but that thing did not play the way I wanted it to. I'm pretty sure it's my internet. Supposed to do more shots. I worked 5 minutes on it. Doesn't matter, but still, it was my work. Anyway, let me switch this out a little bit here. So here's how this is going to work. Usually in Game of Thrones, when I did Game of Thrones reviews, I had the segment called The Good, the Bad, and the Martin. And so in the good, pretty easy. I broke down the stuff that I like. In the bad, I complained a lot about every single thing that I didn't like about that episode. And in the Martin, I gave you a fun fact about George R. R. Martin or the Game of Thrones books, which are the Song of Ice and Fire, a fun fact of that universe. I did a similar thing with The Good, the Bad, and the Mandalorian, in which in the Mandalorian, I gave you fun facts about the Star Wars universe. So for this one, I'm going to give you fun facts about wolves. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm going to give you fun facts about sci-fi, or we're just going to try to understand the sci-fi of the show. I love sci-fi. I think it's one of my favorite genres of all time, and so we'll try to understand the science of it all, okay? It may not always work out the best, but we'll see. We'll see how it works out. This one, I'm actually trying to understand one thing in particular. So let's begin with the good here. Let me switch it out again. There you go. Big one. So the good, the performance of Mother is by far the best performance on the show. Like most of the characters did good. Father did really well. Campion was okay. Campion is actually the narrator of the show, and so it was very important that he have a good performance, because usually when a show is when there's a kid that's very important in a show, their performance has to be really good, otherwise the show's gonna suck. So far his performance was okay. Marcus, we didn't get to see enough of him. There's a bit of a Ragnar accent in there. There's a mix of accent between Ragnar, his previous character, and he's trying to do like an American and robots. But yeah, but it's not bad, especially because honestly, you don't know where he's from. We don't know how long he's been in space. It might be just a mixture of a whole bunch of accents, so it's okay. No problem, no big deal there. But the one that takes the cake is this girl, Amanda Collin, who plays Mother. Her performance is very unsettling. At points, you feel bad for her. At points, you feel terrified from her. She's terrifying. At points, she's very creepy. So honestly, she takes the show so far, and with good reason. She is pretty much the main person here, the main character, the most important one. It's very hard to handle a robot to handle the performance of an android, because you're not supposed to have emotions. However, this is an android that's kind of starting to have certain types of emotions, and they're not all good. So, humans have humans have a thing called shame. So we're ashamed, if we're angry, if we're sad, we try to look away for stuff. She doesn't have that. So it's like she's having an emotion, but she's completely unashamed of it because she doesn't understand that she has to be ashamed. Like, honestly, it's really, she keeps your eyes on her. It's very impressive performance, and like I said, very creepy. Very, very creepy. Well, at the same time, you kind of feel bad for her because, she's a mother, she's in pain, but she's also an android. Does she really feel pain? I don't know. But like I said, she takes the show. Other things that I really, really liked is all the sci-fi elements of it. I love seeing how people envision the future. So this is how seeing how they believe that we can make cube babies or fridge babies or whatever is pretty interesting, or at least it's pretty interesting to me. And also seeing the whole, like, the tech that they're going to use for the future, how they see us colonizing other planets, stuff like that. So the sci-fi elements is great, and most of them are pretty logical, and so I really enjoyed that. I particularly enjoyed a lot of that. I also really like the kind of the backstory. They don't explain a lot, but the little things that they explained, they're really good. And I'm a big fan of religious stuff in sci-fi. It's, again, going back to Battlestar Galactica. Battlestar Galactica deals a lot with religion. You wouldn't expect it from a sci-fi show, but they do deal a lot with religion. Same thing here. This show is very religion heavy, and it's funny because it's an android who created by atheists with an atheist ideology, trying to raise a human kid who has a natural disposition to. It's funny. I don't want to get too into it because I might be end up accidentally spoiling some stuff. But you have a natural predisposition to try to how. I guess you can't explain atheism without explaining theism first. And if you introduce the concept of a god, kids kind of have a thing where they want to like have like a big role model, like a big superhero. And so if you mention like the possibility of a god, of a faith, of an all powerful being, they'll be like, that sounds cool. Like it's interesting. It's, like I said, it's complex, but I like what they're setting up here. I also like the fact that that kind of the only godlike being in this planet is her. So it's and she's also a giver of life. So I see a lot of potential there. I'm very excited about it, and I also want to hear more about the war on Earth, how all this, because I'm trying to think of it. Out of all the reasons why Earth would get destroyed, a theistic war, I don't really see it. But I guess it's possible. I mean, you could argue that atheists follow the Church of Science and theists follow the Church of whatever god they pick. So I guess it would end up being a theistic war that way, but I don't see it happening, at least not in this particular point in time, because there's so many fucking religions. I don't see them all getting together or one just completely dominating the others the other way. And also I don't see atheists doing the same thing. I don't know. It's weird. It's it's an interesting concept, but I guess I don't see it. So I want them to elaborate on that a little bit more. I would enjoy it. It's not necessary. I think the setup was good enough, but I would enjoy it particularly. And also, I loved the costume designs for the Mithraics. That's what they're called, the Mithraics. Because they kind of look like Templars. It's like space Templars. Honestly, I think they look really cool. The shields are kind of whatever. and we didn't really get to see them in action. I guess in action it could be pretty different, but the whole look, the red sun on the chest, I thought it looked really cool. So all that stuff, good. So with that in mind, let's move on to the bad. And the bad here, unfortunately, also comes back to Mother. So the big deal here with Mother is they made her way too powerful. Way too powerful. I'm going to break down some of her abilities, okay? And this is the ones that we know. So, for starters, we know that she can what was called, it's not exactly raise embryos. Yeah, that she can develop embryos with her body. Now, it's not exactly clear if she has nutrients in her body and so she's transferring them to the embryos, or if she's eating something and then transferring the nutrients from what she eats onto the babies, which is what a human would do. I'm guessing that's how it is, because I don't see her in her body. And this is an issue, because if she has the nutrients already in her body, then that takes up space for other stuff. And we'll get into the space. And if she's eating the nutrients, then she would need to have some sort of a digestive system, which would take place for other stuff. And let's get into what the other stuff is. So you got that. She can develop babies. Next, my computer is really crappy right now. I'm sorry. So next we have super strength. She has a form of super strength. So yeah, you can see that between the two of them, they're raising the giant skull of something, of a snake or whatever. Next, she can shapeshift. Now, we can see her, she made her hair longer, and she made her face look like a little kid, and she can actually do that with her entire body. So, that's also pretty creepy. Next, she can fly. Again, she can shapeshift in a way, and she can start flying. Next, she can, at least she hacks the machine. She hacks the ship of Marcus, and basically doesn't allow it to take off, opens it up. Then she's bulletproof, which is always fun. Then it's not exactly clear, but she may be able to see through stuff. Now, either she's seeing through stuff, or she's using, her robot brain to see through the schematics of the ships, which allow her to know what's on the other side. But either one way or another, she's seeing through stuff. Next, she has frost breath, or like freezing breath. And it's so cold that it actually made metal easier to break. And, of course, last but not least, we have her super scream. So, that's a lot of stuff to have on one android body. All right? Now, this is, again, it takes up a lot of space in your body, because, all these are different machines. Like, the super scream machine should take up a little bit of space. The freezing machine should have something inside of her that, I don't know, releases, maybe it's liquid nitrogen, so she has to have liquid nitrogen in her. I don't know. The eyes, it's fine, I guess, doesn't really matter. The armored body, I guess it's fine as well, because it could just be her skin, and that would be the same thing as the shapeshifting. And the hacking, I guess, is standard for a super robot. But the whole having the equipment inside of her to produce babies and maybe even have a digestive system, I don't know. It's a lot. And even if let's say it makes logic that you can put all those super cool weapons inside of a machine, she's too OP. She's too powerful. Now, I'm pretty sure that they're going to walk it back on the next episode, saying that maybe she, wore herself out or something. I doubt it. But maybe she spent too much energy. But, all that stuff. And Shorty, she got attacked by what we assumed is military caliber style weaponry. Did not affect her skin. They did not have a single thing that could detect her coming into her ship. Like the ship where the last of humanity is. Nothing. They had nothing that could stop her. All of the last remnants of humanity, the last ship of humanity that seemed to be actually a pretty nice ship, pretty high tech ship. The ship that from the people who won the war that ended up, destroying planet Earth. And they had nothing in there that could stop her. It kind of leaves you wondering, what the fuck can take this girl down? And what the fuck in that planet could take her down? Because there's nothing left. It's only, as far as we know, it's only Marcus and maybe a couple of scouts left. but a couple of scouts group left. But that's it. So to me, it does make her terrifying. And it is the first episode, so it annoys me. I feel like it's a bad thing because I felt they could have done it differently. However, if this is going to be the big bad for the rest of the show, and the show is going to be trying to figure out how the hell you stop that thing, it could be pretty interesting. Next, the other thing that I didn't like is why the hell is Marcus alive? Now, I get it. If she would have killed them, that's the show. they're done. But this chick had no issue killing anybody else before. Why would she not kill him? Now, this might be something that we will learn as the show goes on. Maybe she has a particular reason why she didn't kill him. Maybe in the next episode, maybe starting the next episode, we'll learn. However, it does seem like a pretty stupid idea. And going back to something that Marcus actually said on the episode, he says, don't look at her. And the guys that looked at her kind of are the ones that exploded. Now, I don't know if that's a thing for everybody, because in the spaceship, there were guys who were looking away and they still got exploded. So I don't know. Maybe it was just a mistake, but we'll see. I'm pretty sure they're going to explain it somehow. And if not, well, then that was a big mistake. Fine. All right. And I think that's it. That's it for the bad. Let's move on to the wolves. And in the wolves, let's see if we can understand what the hell that scream is. Like that, I really, really want to understand what the hell it is. So, and I'm talking about this one. So, how the hell is that thing? At first, I thought maybe it's like a supersonic thing, but it really doesn't make much sense. And right now, I'm very confused as to how it works, because I had a theory. And the theory works on the way she attacks people on the planet. It doesn't really work as well on the ship. Let me explain. On the planet, when she uses her scream the first time that we see it, the guy kind of gets cooked. His clothing's fine. He gets kind of cooked, and he falls down dead. And he's kind of like you can see his skin bubbled up and like it got really burned, stuff like that. And that one kind of made a little bit of sense to me. However, it all kind of goes out the window on the ship one. So let me explain that one. So at first I thought maybe it's not a sonic thing. Maybe it's kind of like a radiation thing, or maybe like a microwave thing. So here's how certain things work. Now, for those of you who don't know, sound is pretty much energy. A sound wave imagine a wave of energy that manifests throughout the universe. And since it's a wave, it's actual energy, it can bounce off of things. You ever heard an echo in a cave? That's kind of, it's the energy bouncing around. Now, it's light energy and sound energy are different, because sound is basically atoms pushing each other. Light works very differently, but that's basically how it works. Now, radio waves are also energy, and there's a whole bunch of waves out there. Again, there's light rays, there's radio waves, there's gamma rays, there's a whole bunch of stuff out there in the universe, and a lot of stuff, your cell phone has waves. So all those those things pass through our body, and they don't harm us, because the wave, imagine a radio wave is kind of like this. So it's like very long, very low. They all move at the same speed, but it's very long. So when it passes through your body, it's like boom, yeah. It doesn't really affect you at all, because the amount of energy going through is not as bad. Now, the way a microwave works is the energy is a lot more. So imagine when you put something in the microwave, if it were just, let's say, a radio, or if it only had the power of a radio wave, your food would never get cooked, because it's just going through nothing. But microwaves, again, as it says, it's microwaves, condensed waves. And so it's basically a whole bunch of energy just going like and passing through your food. And so it's so much energy that's going through it that's what actually warms it up. So looking at this, I thought, and gamma radiation has a lot more. So I figured, okay, maybe it's something like that. However, what doesn't really make much sense, and then is that the plants behind them didn't really get cooked as well. I guess they need to explain that. Maybe it's because she aimed high, and she doesn't want to hurt her crops. Then I thought, well, why didn't the clothes get burned up? Well, it's space clothing, and so in sci-fi, if you guys saw The Martian, NASA does not tend to bring flammable objects into space, so it makes sense that in the future they're not bringing flammable objects into space, because it can start a fire in space, and if you start a fire in space, you're kind of fucked. But well, not in space. I mean, in your spaceship, then you're really fucked because it'll suck up all the oxygen and stuff. But yeah, so I thought, okay, I guess it makes sense. That didn't work. So it could be a form of like microwave or super condensed sound or whatever. So that's what did that. However, once you go to the ship, her screaming there doesn't really make much sense because if you look at it here, they explode. And I mean explode, and you don't see clothing left anywhere. And I mean anywhere. Now, it's possible that this was a mistake. It's possible. It's possible that maybe she just hit him with more fucking force, that one, because she's like, fuck it, I'm in space. I don't have to worry. I mean, I'm planning on destroying the ship anyway, and I don't have to worry about the kid here. So maybe she was just going balls to the walls. It's possible. However, in another shot, you see that there's bodies back there. So now I'm all fucking confused. I don't exactly understand what the hell this ability is. I'm hoping they'll explain it, but if I have to take a guess, it's a form of radiation. She's maybe opening up her core that allows her to fly, and that's releasing a whole bunch of radiation that burns people up if they're in that vicinity. Now, what does looking at it have to do with anything? I don't know. Maybe that's how they detect you. Maybe they're following eyes. Maybe that's why only the face burned up, because she's aiming at faces. I don't know. But if that's my guess. So, and that's how that works. So hopefully you enjoyed that. And with that, we finish up with this segment of The Good, the Bad, and the Wolves. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Like I said, I highly recommend this show. It's really good. It could be great, I guess. It depends. I'm gonna keep watching. I'm gonna do one for the boys later on. I don't know if it's gonna be today or I don't know, because it's way later than I thought. But I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna do something else later on today. I'll keep working on it. So hopefully you enjoyed that. As always, any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Dario the Show on Instagram and at Super Dario World. Like I said, live streaming. I don't know how this live stream went because my computer kept like glitching. I don't know. Hopefully it went well. If not, well, whoops. Sorry. Can't do much about that now, can I? So that's it. Like I said, live streaming. It's because, you know what? It's because I switched to YouTube events. YouTube's made me switch to that thing, and I think that thing's fucked up. But we'll see. I'll check things out. Maybe I just did like a whole hour for nothing. Well, half an hour for nothing. We'll see. But yeah, live streaming on YouTube and on Twitch at Super Dario World. Trying to do it every day. We'll see how it goes. At least for the rest of this week, I'm gonna try to double dip. As always, as always, thanks for listening, and I'll see you again next time.